Hey, everybody. It is Sunday, June 11th, 2023, and you are listening to episode 16 of Black Box Signal, podcast on this thing called the internet about these things that we like called video games. I'm your host, as always, Chase Johnson, and I am joined on this jam-packed episode with none other than the only person that would help me steer this heavy cargo ship. We're going to be talking about cargo ships later. In this climate, Brandon Gaston. How's it going, buddy?
What up? It's going.
Right. I've been neck deep in news, so we'll get into that real shortly here. But man, what's been going on with you this week?
Honestly, not a whole lot on the video game front. We had my daughter's 7th birthday party over the weekend, so that was fun. A lot of swimming, stuff like that. I got burned. You can't really see it too well on camera, but wait till you see me tomorrow at work, dude. My whole head's like red, beet red. Yeah, I got sunburned at field day on Friday, so yeah, you know that stuff. Played a little Final Fantasy 2, or as most people know it, Final Fantasy 4, because you know.
We'll roll the jingle in a minute for that. We'll roll it real quick right here over the. There you go. While the music is still going in the background, but that's all you get, people.
I mean, not really a whole lot to talk about. I mean, just played a little bit of that, helping my son learn some Super Mario RPG, stuff like that. Wasn't really a whole lot of video games this weekend, just mostly family time kind of stuff like that. I know we have a ton of news.
Yeah. This weekend, my daughter was in her first karate tournament, and she took first place in the runner-up division in her little division. So that was cool. But it was long, dude. Karate tournaments are fucking long, dude. Mm-hmm. It was. We got there at like 11:50, and we didn't leave until 4. And
yep. Sounds like the old wrestling tournaments from when I was a kid.
Still going
all day affair.
It was still going on, like, because they were still going through because she's only white belt, so she was obviously competing with a bunch of other white belts. But they were still going through all the other divisions after she was done of, like, you know, the higher ranks. So we finally like Setsi was like, oh yeah, you guys can go, it's fine. Like, we understand. And I think they even made a joke. He made a joke about how, like, when he was younger, he's like, yeah, I'd go to some of these tournaments and they'd be 9 hours. And it's like, no, we're not doing it that way. We're going to be having 2 brackets going at once, you know, half the gym doing one bracket, half the gym, like, because we're not going to be taking that long. But, yeah, that's
strike hard, strike fast, no mercy.
Medal. Yeah, no, she didn't do any sparring. The sparring there was pretty cool though, to watch some kids go at it.
I'll be disappointed if when she does do sparring, you do not tell her to sweep the leg.
That's illegal.
Sweep the leg.
That's illegal. It's the way they do it is no shots to the back, no shots to the head or face, and no shots below the belt. So you're aiming for only the torso. But yeah, that's what I did all weekend. Was that, and then all week I've been watching a lot of video game stuff, which is why we're gonna go ahead and get into the news. As we freeze while the sound effect plays, still never got any transitions because I've been watching too much stuff. We are going to kind of speedily, well, maybe not super speedily, but we're gonna kind of go through these news stories because, oh boy, we got a lot more to talk about this week. As you know, with everything going on with Summer's Games Fest, we're gonna have, you know, we kind of cut the game section this week, so but we're gonna start with everything that kind of happened before all the events started kicking off. First thing is that I wrote down is and you can kind of look it up everywhere. Everybody's been talking about it, but I had to throw it in here. Apple unveiled its sort of virtual reality headset, and it is, of course, it's $3,500.
Naturally.
The dreaded Apple tax. From what I understand is it doesn't even do that much. Like, it's essentially like, do you want to watch movies? Do you want to, like, replace your computer screen with just a screen on your face while you're typing emails? do you want to watch a movie on 1,000-foot IMAX screen while floating in a lake in Switzerland? I mean, I guess some of that sounds cool, but not $3,500 cool.
Yeah,
I
no
don't know.
shot.
I don't know. What do you think?
Ridiculous, dude. Yeah. Overpriced freaking pair of goggles. No, thank you.
And
I'll pass.
and who is this for? Like, we know that like Apple doesn't already like treat video games very seriously. That's why you don't see very many video games on Mac at all. They're terrible
Yeah.
at support on that front. Yeah, you see a lot of like iPhone and iPad games, but that's pretty much where it ends.
Mm-hmm.
But so like I they don't see it as the way that they're marketing it and the way that I saw it is it's like they're not even seeing it as like a like quote unquote like gaming device. They're like seeing it as like a future peripheral to like I said, replace your monitor or just like
Mm-hmm.
completely plug you in, but it just seems dumb. Like it doesn't like
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Worthless, in
And
my
I used to
opinion.
love like even like Mac computers. Like I was super into Macs for a while, but like over the
Ugh.
years they've
Ugh.
no, they were really good like 15 years
Nope.
ago. 15 years ago they
Nope.
were really good. Then like I want to say like 6 or 7 years ago, they like took a huge like PC kind of caught up to them again, and then they just took like as far as like usability goes, and it just took a huge down. Like now it's like they're
No.
back to being overpriced junk. Like
Mm.
in my opinion. But kind of another next story on the VR front. This originally leaked earlier in the week, but now you can go and look this up on their own website. The MetaQuest 3 is coming this fall and is going to be $500. Um, this is actually the one headset that I would consider getting. This one headset line would be the Quest because it's the one headset line, in my opinion, that if they can get really good with it, like really up the value, the production value and stuff, and get some games on it, it would actually be good because it's the one that does not have to be plugged into a freaking thing. You put the goggles
Yeah.
on, you have controllers, you're not tethered to a console, you're not tethered to a PC. The inside out tracking works really well, so you don't have to have towers set up. Tracks the other way instead of tracking inward or from outward
Mm-hmm.
in. It tracks the other way, like how the PSVR does. So I I threw this in there kind of like as a. It's kind of funny that like I'm praising Meta because Apple is so dumb. But I don't
Well,
know. What do you think of like what do you think the idea of the Meta Quest as a whole? Like we know it hasn't like it's probably like the second most popular VR device in this price range, in this like sub $1,000 price range. Um so but I mean I feel like it does all right. I've always been kind of intrigued by it. What do you think about the whole thing?
um, I mean, it's kind of interesting. Me personally, the VR stuff really has not super resonated with me. Like most people are super hyped up on it. And I don't know. I haven't gotten behind it. Maybe because I haven't really played on any of the new VR stuff yet. Like you got to play on the one over at your brother-in-law's house,
Yep,
which
PSVR 2.
I'm kind of real jelly
And
about
that was
that, to be
cool. That
honest
was
with you.
cool. But
So
yeah, I think that's the other thing is like how much it costs and like the barrier to
yes.
entry. Where at least with the Meta Quest, I can kind of swallow it being like, okay, it's not like the PSVR where you need to have the PlayStation and the headset. It's like you just buy the one
Right.
thing and you're good. So I can kind
Hmm.
of $500 is still a lot, but I bought a PS5 for that. So I could see I probably wouldn't actually buy one. I would just like to maybe have one sent to me. That'd be nice. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
Right.
But that would be the one that I would like probably want to check out and mess with the most, especially if like the three and they're gonna keep. I guess they're gonna keep coming out with the Quest 2s, with just
Mm.
like updated hardware in them to kind of like beef them up. So if you can't afford the three, I guess the three is gonna have a 128 gigabyte hard drive. Our 120 byte gigs of storage, and I think they're probably going to release. They haven't said the price of it, but everyone's thinking that they're also going to release a 256 model too, which that makes sense. I could see that one being for like 6 or something like that. Um, Next story comes from Video Games Chronicle, and this is back in the Microsoft the realm of news here. Microsoft could withdraw Activision from the UK to counter the acquisition block. Um, Basically, when we were talking about how the UK was, I think it was the CMA. Yeah, the CMA is blocking their deal, which is the Competition Markets Authority in the UK. Remember, it was approved in Europe. It's being challenged in
Mm-hmm.
the United States and challenged in the UK. And Activision has basically stated, looks like their VP has basically stated that they would go as far as moving all business, like any offices and stuff, out of the UK to skirt around
Jeez. Wow.
this if it went that far. Um, I don't think either side wants that, but that's how far they're willing to go to make sure that this deal goes through. I don't know. What do you think about that? That's pretty drastic.
Yeah, I was gonna say that seems pretty extreme, but I mean, I guess you gotta do what you gotta do. I mean,
I mean,
from a business standpoint, I guess.
well, and also it's Activision, so it's Activision. Like
Yeah,
you're trying to buy Activision, and that's a lot of money. Like
yeah. Well, and
that's going to come
that's a
in is what I'm saying. It's not just a
yeah,
huge
yeah, yeah. Oh
acquisition.
yeah, yeah.
It's a lot of money that's going to bring that's going to come in into Microsoft. So if they've probably already ran the numbers and see that, you know what, it's worth it to leave the UK if it means that this deal goes through.
Yeah,
That
yeah. I mean,
so it
that's a
means
huge.
that they don't want to do it, but it means that they've ran the numbers and they're willing to make that
Yeah,
sacrifice,
yeah,
which is
yeah. I'm willing
a
to
little
cut
scary.
that out if it means I'm getting a giant ass payday. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's scary to
Mm-hmm.
think about, that that acquisition is so big, it has the potential to bring in so much money that they're willing to leave an entire country. And not just any
Yeah,
country, it's the United Kingdom. Like it's not just like they're
yeah.
leaving some like, you know, backwoods country or something like that. No, it's the United Kingdom. I mean, that's
Mm-hmm.
um yeah, I just found that, yeah, that was originally from a Bloomberg report, but Video Games Chronicles the article that I found that reported on it.
Definitely interesting. We'll have to see what ends up coming about if they end up having to go that far or what.
Right, right. I guess I bet you we will have to see, because it's tied up in, it's all tied up in courts right now. Like it's not like fully blocked in the UK. It's not fully blocked here either. It's all just going to court, like getting ready to go to court and yada yada
Mm-hmm.
yada. So we'll have to see. I bet you it'll linger on like what we decide. Like if whatever decision we make, I bet you UK will follow suit. Something tells me.
Probably. I
Um,
wouldn't doubt that one bit.
doesn't always go that way, but I feel like I feel like that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
Um, Staying on the Microsoft front and continuing with another theme that we've had, and this comes from GameDeveloper.com. Longtime Halo designer David Ellis departs 343 Industries. On Friday, June 2nd was my last day, wrote Ellis on Twitter. After more than a decade with the chief, I am ready for a different challenge. So once again, we've got more people leaving 343. Just makes me think more that they really need this acquisition to go through Microsoft, because like
Mm-hmm.
how many times have we reported on like people leaving 343 now since
A lot.
Halo Infinite shipped, and like no new content. I mean, we're going to get into the Xbox showcase later, but spoiler alert, Halo wasn't even mentioned. That was like the biggest game they shipped last year. You'd think they'd be having like some DLC announcements or something, because it's usually the time that you'd pepper that in. Nothing. Zilch.
Nada. Radio
Nothing.
silence.
Not even and nothing from Halo, period. Nothing.
Mm.
So that's like,
Mm-mm-mm.
that is, I don't know, man. What do you think about that? That's,
That doesn't sound good if you ask me.
yeah, like,
Definitely don't sound good.
and this is Halo. What happened? Like, I understand that that franchise hasn't been like, popping in a while, we'll be real. But like, you're Microsoft. This is Halo. Like, how did you let it get this bad?
Well,
Would Nintendo ever let Mario or Zelda get this bad? Would Sony ever let like The Last of Us or one of its beloved franchise get this bad? Like, would they?
no.
Yeah. Like,
Shows
what?
how much Microsoft really gives a shit about their stuff, though. You know what I mean?
Like, I understand they like I said that they've been struggling since Halo 4. Halo 4 was rough. Halo 5 was And Infinite had the chance to be good, and it just didn't have the support.
Hmm.
The story was meh, like the campaign was meh, but the multiplayer everybody said was really great. Everybody said, "Man, this multiplayer is awesome. Just needs more game modes and maps." Then nothing. If they would have just
Yep.
kept supplementing that, they would have been all right, I feel. But man, like, how did this happen? Like, could you imagine talking to high school Brandon and Chase and just saying, like, when you get to mid 30s, Halo's going to be like literally basically on life support?
I never believed it back then.
Like, like literally, like get out the paddles. Like, it ain't looking
You
good.
know, not even 1 foot in the grave. It's like 2 foot in the grave at this point.
Right. Like, and
Hmm.
oh, and I just feel like it's kind of funny because like Bungie got away from that and they're like doing great, like without
Yeah.
doing any more Halo.
Yeah.
Like they did
Uh-huh.
their run of Halo games was great all the way through, and then they were like, we're good, you know what?
Yeah.
And
Peace out.
peace
Bye.
out, we got our money bags, and then they made Destiny,
Hmm.
and you know we can talk about Destiny a bunch, but like. You know, for the most part, I will say they turned that ship around, and Destiny is super successful now. So I feel like
Yep.
they're good. They're about to make Marathon. They're underneath Sony now and are like assisting on 12 other games. That's money coming in. So that is uh, that is funny.
Slap it now.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And now the last little thing from the Microsoft block here, since we're gonna count it, since they're trying to buy Activision. Activision touts, this comes from Polygon. Activision touts Diablo 4's the fastest selling launch of all time for Blizzard. Um, that's no surprise. I was trying to think back like what would be a bigger one for them, but I would say the last time they launched a game this big would have been like a World of Warcraft, like
Yeah.
OG World of Warcraft, and it's been a long time since they've launched something that big. So, or maybe StarCraft 2 when the initial run of StarCraft 2 launched. God, I miss StarCraft. Um, but yeah, I they sold. I want to say, oh no, they didn't divulge their exact numbers, but they did actually go into a Steam page to see concurrent players, and quote, Diablo 4 has been played for 93 million hours or over 10,000 years already. So like that's how much, like, so I mean, I'd
I
say,
believe
you
it.
know, don't look at sale. You don't necessarily have to look at sales to say that it's probably doing pretty damn well. Um,
Hmm.
are we surprised?
No. No. Diablo's been one of their big franchises forever, dude. Every Diablo game that's dropped has been super highly anticipated. So I'm not shocked at all.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, Dart, and then you said you're probably gonna be picking up Diablo here soon, or might be having access to Diablo soon. So
Yes. Yes.
yeah,
So we'll see if I get my chance to play it. I'm definitely not going to turn that down. That's for sure.
right. Yeah, and I played that beta. That beta was fun. It played great. I played it on PS5 and it played great on a controller. I'm sure it plays awesome on a mouse and keyboard. So but yeah. Next story comes from IGN. And this leaked, and then they just kind of announced it. A lot of leaks this week because it's just the leak running up to, or the week running up to everything. Nintendo has announced that Everybody 1-2 Switch will launch June 30th on the for the Nintendo Switch, and it's the follow up to the 2017's 1-2 Switch. I don't know if you remember 1-2 Switch, but it was kind of like the Nintendo Switch version of Wii Sports. Like, it had a bunch of mini games in it that did like a bunch of like HD Rumble stuff, and well, like I said, it wasn't exactly like
No,
Wii
I don't
Sports, but it was a
remember
bunch
that.
of mini games. They're coming out with a sequel to that. I don't know. I felt like it was always trying to capture the magic of 1-2 Switch or of Wii Sports, but never really quite could, because Wii Sports was a pack-in. Like, that was perfect because it like came with the console, paying like
Oh yeah,
$60
Wii Sports was hella fun.
yeah. And I think what they're saying 1-2 Switch is going to be it's going to be 30 instead of 60. Um,
Well, that's better.
yeah, which originally they charged 60 for 1-2 Switch, which 1-2 Switch was fun. It was not $60 fun. Like that is the one thing I will say. And yeah, so I probably won't pick this up. I don't see Like this, like I said, this isn't a Wii Sports. This isn't. I don't know. I don't know. What are you into like mini games and stuff like that? Are you kids into really into mini games and stuff like those style of mini games or stuff like that?
Look, if it ain't Wii bowling, I don't want no part of it. I love me some Wii bowling,
Wii
dude.
bowling, Wii tennis.
Not so much the tennis. We got competitive, right? Like, and my dad was not a big video game kind of guy, but we had a Wii at the house, and my dad would go ham on that Wii bowling, dude. Like, we would get in some competitions, dude, in the living room over the Wii bowling.
Yeah, we invented this thing called chicken wing bowling, where, and this is gonna look terrible for people who are listening to the podcast instead of watching it, but we'd literally hold the remote like this and swing our arms back and forth, and then we'd release right here when our arms are crossed. And 9 times out
Mhm.
of 10, always get a strike because it'd put the perfect spin on the ball. I don't know what it was about it, but for some reason we put it in our heads that like, oh, that's how you're gonna get a strike every time, and it almost worked. Like literally 9 times out of 10, it would give us a strike. It'd never get us that perfect game, but and then we played a lot of Wii golf and a lot of tennis. Like we played a lot of those.
Mm.
I played a lot of Wii Sports in general, like all the games, the boxing, the batting
The
cages.
boxing used to get you tired, dude,
Dude,
because you'd be
yeah.
going like, oh my God, I used to get tired out playing that.
Yeah, no kidding, dude. Yeah. But yeah, I 1-2 switch, not so much. So everybody 1-2 switch. I don't know. If you're into that thing, go for it. But be coming out here real soon. But I don't think I'll be picking it up. Next story comes from The Verge, and I threw this in here because you're obviously a really big Star Wars fan. I'm a really big Star Wars fan, but I would say you're definitely the bigger of the two of us. As he shows his tattoo. But the Star Wars KOTOR 2 remake for the Switch is not getting the DLC that they originally promised now. I don't know if you remember, but you know the story development about this game, and you could probably tell the story if you know it, about how it
Mm,
wasn't technically finished.
no, I don't think I know this.
So do you remember how that when you finished KOTOR, it was just like still images to say how the ending of the game played out? Like with
Yeah.
just
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
text.
Okay. Yep.
It's because the end of the game was never finished. So a bunch of modders, like I don't want to say how long back, but actually dug into the code and found the original like code for the finished portion of the game that they didn't have time to finish. And so the people that were going to do this remake were going to actually do the work to remake that part of the game and give the full ending like that was supposed
Nice.
to originally be in the game. Well, now they're not.
Well, that's
Or at least for
fucking
the
lame.
Switch. I think they said
How
they might still do it
dare
on
you?
PC. Well, here's the tweet, and this tweet comes from Aspire. That's who's developing it. It says as the tweet loads, we'd like to thank the KOTOR community for their immense passion and support for the Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic series. That passion allowed us to bring this timeless series to the Nintendo Switch, and we are forever grateful. Because I think the first version of KOTOR is already on the Switch. I think. I'm not 100%, but I think it is. Anyway, sadly
I might
today,
have to check.
I know it's coming. Sadly today, we're announcing the restored content DLC for the Nintendo Switch version of Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords, will not be moving forward for release. We'd like to thank everyone for their continued support by providing a complimentary video game key to players that purchased Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords on Nintendo Switch before this announcement. Players may pick a replacement key from the following list: Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2, The Sith Lords on Steam. So I'm assuming the PC version must still be getting that DLC, but the Switch version isn't.
That don't
Or
make any
maybe it's
sense.
well, no, because I think you can mod the Switch version to have it, or the Steam version to have it in there, because it's just a mod.
Oh, well, it could be.
Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic on Nintendo Switch. Star Wars The Force Unleashed on Nintendo Switch. Star Wars Republic Commando on Nintendo Switch. Star Wars Escape 1 or Episode 1. Wow, Escape. Episode 1 Racer on Nintendo Switch. Star Wars Jedi Knight Jedi Academy on Nintendo Switch, or Star Wars Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast on the Nintendo Switch. To receive your complimentary key, please support blah blah blah.com. Okay. Yeah. So those are the games that you can get. How does The Force Unleashed run on a Nintendo Switch? I would wonder. Uh, like, I was just thinking that, like, if you got that as your key, Jedi Knight Academy, and Jedi Outcast, I'm cool with that. But
oh yeah, baby.
that's kind of a bummer though that we're not getting that now. Because oh man, I would have loved to seen like what they were originally, or at least a take on what they were you know, the
Gonna
bone
do?
gonna
Yeah,
do.
definitely.
Yeah. But yeah, so I don't what do you think of the lineup of games that they're giving away instead? Well, KOTOR on Switch, KOTOR on Steam, Republic Commando on Switch. They're mostly all Switch games. One copy's on Steam and the rest of them are all Switch games. But Republic Commando's okay. Episode 1 Racer, was that one? Oh, I don't remember if that one was any good or not. Um
Mm.
and Force Unleashed, I only thought those games were okay, if I'm being honest.
They were decent. I thought
I
they
felt
were
like the
they were
first one was
pretty
better than the
fun.
second one. The second one was kind of
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with that then. Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, at least Starkiller's got a better character than what's his face
oh, Jedi
from the new one.
Cal lightsaber. Yeah, we know what we're talking
Yeah,
about. Cal lightsaber. Yeah,
Cal
Cal
Cal no
Kestis. Yeah,
personality.
who has no personality. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, I've already forgotten the name. Jedi Survivor. Yeah, that game. I was like, I've already forgotten the name because your character is so boring, and all the other characters were actually decent in that game. Like,
Yeah, and your
um,
main character's the drabbest person in there.
I know it's
Oh,
awful.
irritating.
Um, Next story comes from Eurogamer. We were kind of reported on Yuji Naka, the Sonic co-creator, was kind of getting busted for inside trading. He was also the creator of Balan Wonderworld. Basically, he was like buying a Square Enix stock before games would release, things like that. Um,
Mm.
so that's where he's getting busted, and he pled guilty to it. He is getting sentenced for, and he will possibly serve a good chance actually that he's going to serve 2.5 years in prison. The
Rough.
co-creator of Sonic, the dude who created Sonic, is going to serve 2.5 years in prison and pay
Well,
almost uh, 170 million yen in fines.
I'm sure he'll get his share of chili dogs there in prison. You know what I mean?
Really, dude? That's what we're doing. Have to edit that part out. No.
Gotta go fast all the way into prison.
I just like I'm gonna shout out Jeff Gerstmann for this joke, but it's like he was making the joke. It's like, finally, the crimes for giving us Sonic. We couldn't get him for that, but we got him for this. Because I mean, there hasn't been a good Sonic game since Sonic 2. Fight me on
Oh
that.
God,
There really hasn't.
there
Am I
really
wrong?
hasn't
Am I
been.
wrong? Like, I did
No,
not think Sonic and Knuckles was good. I didn't think, you know, and he gave us Balan Wonderworld. Balan Wonderworld was awful. You should go to jail for giving us Balan Wonderworld. Did you play Balan Wonderworld? Balan Wonderworld looked so cool,
no.
and its onset when I saw it in Square Enix, I was like, oh, this is like a cutesy, like if Square Enix was making like an RPG with Disney. Oh wait, they did that. It's called Kingdom Hearts. Well, if they made like a different one and it was like unique, although it was bad. And you should go to jail for that. You should go to jail for all the 3D Sonic games, except
Oh
for
God,
the original adventure ones on GameCube were all right. But beyond
no.
that, beyond that, Sonic 4, you should go to jail for Sonic 4. The fact that that was in multiple parts, you sir should go to jail for Sonic 4. But we got him for insider trading. So,
Finally,
congratulations, boys. We got him.
justice is served.
We got him. Next story comes from PC Gamer, which I don't know if you were watching this throughout the week on Twitter. The whole thing debacle going on with Twitch changing its monetization policies and then changing them back when everybody was pissed. So
Yeah.
they were basically going around saying that they were going to start like making it so you couldn't have like any logos shown in the corner that were bigger than 3%. You couldn't run any sort of like baked in ads. So if you had like a podcast that you're running on Twitch, like we're doing right now, we don't run ads, but maybe one day we will. I know a lot of them that do. If they ran ads like that, you would get in trouble. Like they basically were trying to like make it so like you can't do anything anymore and everything has to go through them. Obviously their people were pissed, and then Um, they had to walk it back. Long story short, it's like yesterday according to Twitter, yesterday we released this is an old tweet obviously, so you have to go in the context. We released new branded content guidelines that impacted your ability to work with sponsors to increase your income for streaming. These guidelines are bad for you and bad for Twitch, and we are removing them immediately. Sponsorships are critical to streamers' growth and the ability to earn income. We will not prevent your ability to enter into direct relationships with sponsors. You will continue to own and control your sponsorship business. We want to work with our community to create the best experience on Twitch, and to do that, we need to be clear about what we are doing and why we are doing it. We appreciate your feedback and help in making this change. Except you were going to do that until people were pissed. And then you were like, no,
Yeah.
we're not. This is like Xbox with the whole DRM situation last time around with the Xbox One, when they were like, they had to walk back a ton of stuff, and it like stayed with them for the whole generation. Because I had people being like saying the whole always online thing for like the whole gen. It's like, no, they walked that back. It's not always online. But they were gonna do that. They were literally gonna like take your, like, basically say you can't run any sponsored content on your channel, because that was another revenue stream that Twitch didn't have their hand in. Because Twitch is not making Amazon money.
Oh my God. Twitch, you're not going to do this or this. Content creators, the fuck we aren't.
Yeah, pretty much. They're like, okay.
Literally.
And this comes as a time as like more and more people are leaving Twitch in droves to go to YouTube.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
YouTube, I said this to Dustin. All YouTube needs to do is come up with their own equivalent of the affiliate program.
Yeah.
Game over, because they have memberships. Those are their versions of subs. They have live redirects. Terrible name, but that's their version of raids. They have gifted memberships now. That's a way of like gifting people subs. I think they have that, or they're working on that. So they have the equivalents. All they need now is like an equivalent version of affiliate. And I could see live streamers just leaving. The other thing they were going to do too is if you were to cancel your affiliate contract, they would charge you $25 to do so. So to end your, because if you were to go and start streaming on YouTube, part of your affiliate deal, because I'm an affiliate on Twitch, I make very little money, so it really doesn't do me anything. But part of my deal to be an affiliate on Twitch is I technically cannot live stream anywhere else. That's why you see me live stream over here on the Black Box channel, and then I will post the VOD later to YouTube, because that's legal, but I can't live stream at the same time. That would be breaking my contract. If you want to leave to go to YouTube, all you have to do is send them an email, and as long as you sent them that email saying, hey, break my affiliate contract, you can pretty much go to YouTube. But now they're going to charge you to do so. They're going to charge you like a $25 fee. And it's just like, Twitch, you're so desperate. Yeah, bruh. Like, and I know it's Amazon. Ever since, I don't like to be the guy that always picks on Amazon, but ever since, everybody says it, ever since Amazon bought Twitch, it has just been this steadily like
right down the shithole. Yeah.
Do you remember when, this is going to be another console analogy, but do you remember when the PlayStation 3 came out?
Yeah.
Remember what it launched at? What price it launched at?
No, I don't remember.
This was after PlayStation 2 kicked everybody's ass that generation, mind you, and had a lot of arrogance. PlayStation 3 launched at $600.
Oh yeah, I do think I remember that.
And that is why
like, I'm not paying for that.
And that is why that is ultimately why the Xbox 360 for the first good 75% of that console generation mopped the floor with Sony, was because even after Sony dropped the price of the PlayStation 3 and found a way to make it cheaper, that alone made them, like, I think the PlayStation 3 was able to pretty much catch up by the end, and I think ended up beating the 360. I think barely, but I don't know, because then the next generation, Xbox kind of did the same thing and came out super cocky, and then look what happened. Like, Sony, it goes back and forth. I feel like we could honestly see that again this generation. But Like Twitch doing this, I get those same vibes of like arrogance of like we're the number one streaming platform because they are. Like
Yeah.
YouTube is still number one for curated content, but live streams aren't as big over there. They're growing, like we've discussed, but Twitch is still king. And I feel like all these moves that they're making are like, well, where else are you gonna go?
Right.
YouTube, which people are.
Oh,
Okay.
and now they've got that Kick or whatever that's
Oh
out
no,
now, and
don't
people
go
are
to
moving
Kick.
over to that.
So do you know? So here's my little spiel on Kick, y'all. If you're thinking you're gonna get on Kick, what if you go to Kick right now? What are 90% of the games that are being played? Those sports betting games and all those gambling games. What are 90% of the ads being ran on them? Bunch of gambling games and like stuff like that. It is a gambling website. 1,000%. It is like a gambling website masked as a streaming website. And if you go to their website, I have gone to their website. It is carbon copy identical to Twitch. Instead of being black and purple, it is black and green. That's it.
Huh.
And says Kick instead of Twitch. And if you look at 90% of their ads, it is all gambling focused. It is all based on like poker games and blackjack games,
Interesting.
and they pay you more if you play these games on stream. And it's like, so it's also feels very gross and not very good at either. Like, oh, they have this, and it's like, no, that's
Not
yeah.
today,
Because
Satan.
I
Not
looked it up, I
today.
was like, oh, what is this? And then I like went on a YouTube dive about it. And I was like, this is no. This is just like another bunch of like corporations that are looking to cash in on your talent and get their stuff out there
Mm-hmm.
and not pay you jack. Kind of like what Twitch is trying to do now, or walk back what they're trying to do now. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Last two stories proper before we get into the meat and potatoes of what we're getting into. Nintendo is adding a few games to the Nintendo Switch Online. They're adding Kirby Tilt and Tumble for the Game Boy Color, Harvest Moon for Super Nintendo. Fuck yes. Mystery Tower, which is a Namco game, which was on the original Nintendo. And then Blaster Master Enemy Below for Game Boy Color. Not much I got to say about that. Just wanted to kind of throw that out there that they're adding those on there.
Cool.
I have not been subscribed to my Nintendo Online in a while. I finally let
Neither
that
have I.
lapse.
Mine's been lapsed for a while.
I had it for a long time because I had got like a bunch of those like 1 year cards, so I had it like stacked for a while. But I think it finally ran out, and I don't. I wanted to check out the N64 stuff for a minute, but I just don't want to pay for it, I guess. Like I want to
Yep.
buy those games piecemeal almost. I wish. I
Yep.
wish I could do that, because that is the one thing about the Sony service that I'll give a little bit of props to, is that at least all the games that are on the tiered service that you would get, you could also just buy piecemeal, like individually.
Mm-hmm.
I wish you could do that with Nintendo. But last stories from The Verge, and this is kind of one that I threw in here because this is an outlet that I followed for years. CNET, which is a website. It's a tech website. They write a lot of articles about video games stuff too. But they are formally filing to start a union, citing editorial independence and the use of AI tools as a reason why they would like that. Which I will just say, good on you. I think we need more unions, honestly, personally, and
100% agree, man.
yeah, like what more can we say? I wish them the best of luck, especially in the
Mm-hmm.
industries like writing, especially the arts. The arts are, and then and which I mean, I guess you could say journalism isn't. Well, journalism is an art. I would say if you're reporting on this stuff, there's an art form to like writing those style of articles and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
those people don't get the protections that they deserve, so they need
Mm-hmm.
something. So that didn't really have too much to say about that, except good on you, and I really hope for the best. I hope it goes, well, and yeah, solidarity, comrades.
Mm-hmm.
But now we are going to get into the big meat and potatoes. Meat and potatoes that I had to have a second note for. As you know, this week is Summer Games Fest. That's the kind of what has replaced E3. Uh, and I would say Summer Game Fest and surrounding events. We are going to be talking about a little bit of it here. I guess I there's a couple of other events that are coming up, and a couple of other events that I haven't finished watching yet. The Guerrilla Collective, which is an indie event. I have not finished that yet. I will be probably reporting on that next week. And then the Wholesome Direct, which is a bunch of wholesome, cozy games. That's my jam. Kind of cool, chill games. I haven't watched that. That's an hour. I'm gonna watch that. And then Ubisoft Forward is coming out, I believe, tomorrow. So we'll be reporting on that next week. And I believe the Capcom Showcase is either tomorrow or Tuesday. And we'll be reporting on that. And I think those are the big ones. I don't know. Do you see any other ones that you could? Because I didn't see anything from Nintendo. I didn't see anything else. I think those are the
Mm-mm.
big ones until honestly August, which is Gamescom, the Gamescom opening stuff. But what we are going to talk about today, and I have the list in front of me. I don't. We're going to talk about Summer Games Fest proper. We're going to talk about Day of the Devs, and we're going to talk about the Xbox/Starfield showcase, which I actually just watched today. I tried watching it on stream with y'all, but that you saw how well that went. Gotta love technical difficulties and not having a PC powerful enough to do that, which is pathetic. But I guess I'll start with you, Brandon, a little bit. Was there anything? We'll start with the Summer Games Fest list. Was there anything that you want me to touch on or jump on, or anything that you want me to talk about, or anything that caught your interest, or anything that you watched? Because I know I kind of watched everything and then kind of filtered it to you and just say, hey, just kind of watch, whatever piques your interest.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Liza P is something that I've been hyped for ever since I
oh
came
my
across a video of it.
God, that is
Just
like
random on YouTube one day, right? Just late
yeah.
night, laying in bed scrolling. I was like, oh, what is this? Something about Pinocchio. Okay, cool, whatever. So I watched like a couple videos and I was super hooked. And like, super excited for that because it just looks kind of gritty, almost
It's a
like
Souls
Dark
like.
Souls
It is
esque.
a Souls like. They
So yeah.
confirmed. Yeah. So
Mm-hmm.
Liza P was shown last year, and if you guys don't know, it is kind of an alternate dark telling of the story of Pinocchio. And I believe the way that they're twisting it is like Geppetto is actually the villain of the story, I think. And you play as Pinocchio, but
Mm-hmm.
instead of being made out of wood, you're more mechanical and machine.
Yep. Kind of
Geppetto's making
steampunk
yeah,
esque
very
almost.
steampunk-ish, and it's very dark Victorian. It's got such a vibe, got such a rad look.
Yes.
I am so
Yes.
excited for Liza P, and that is coming out September 19th this year. So that is like I'm gonna make there's so many things that I was like, oh, I only got a couple of games that I'm gonna like want, coming in the fall, and now I'm like, oh shit, how am I gonna afford all these? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that looked really sweet. So I would definitely highly recommend to the Black Box crew. Everybody should check out Liza P because Liza P was sweet. What else? What else did you think? Did you take a look
So
at?
I do notice that Baldur's Gate 3 is on there. I've always been a Baldur Gates fan myself, so I'm interested for that to see
Yeah, that
how
game's
that's
been
going to be
in
and stuff.
development forever. Like,
Mhm.
so
Mhm.
I'm hoping that that game ships pretty not broken.
I hope so too,
Yeah, because
cuz I've been a fan of the series for sure.
they did some tests where some of them were received well and some of them were not received so well. So it's been kind of a
Mm.
up and down development cycle. So they could stick the landing. I'm not trying to say that like, oh, it's definitely gonna come in. Like, who knows? They've had some hits, they've had some misses on this development cycle. So um hopefully we'll see something. They did
Also, I spied on the list you put down Prince of Persia. Did we call that last week or what?
okay, kind of. It's kind of a new it's a side scroller. Like kind of like
Oh, okay.
those
Old
style.
school version of it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
the older versions of Prince of Persia, the Lost Crown. So yeah, and it's got kind of a whole new art style. It looks a little bit more. I hate using the term cartoony, but because I feel like that puts a negative connotation in people's heads, like called cartoony. But I think it looks great. It's got like more of like that more of that Ubisoft cartoony look to it, and I feel like it's going to be a lot
Mhm.
more accessible for people to. And that was always more of like a rated T game anyway, so it's not like it's
Yeah.
nothing too crazy. It's not going to be too dark. But yeah, I really dig the look. The Mortal Kombat 1 gameplay trailer. Oh my god. I know we saw a trailer earlier already, but the gameplay trailer was sick. The cameo
Mm,
characters, they explained this mechanic that even though that this is a new timeline starting, you're going to have cameo characters, which basically when you'll be able to pick when you're starting a fight, you pick your character and then you pick your cameo character. And that can be any of the selectable roster or a special set of characters that are just designated to be cameo characters. And these are
okay.
callbacks to like I saw it where it was OG Mortal Kombat 1, original Mortal Kombat, I should say, Sonya Blade or Jax,
Nice.
like those old ones. And what it is you're doing something and then mid combo, that character will run out and do a quick move and then jump back. Like it almost so it's
Oh,
like a quick
uh,
summon almost. Yeah,
like Marvel versus Capcom, right?
a
They had
little
that
bit.
shit
Where
kind of like that. Yeah.
it's not necessarily tag teaming when you're calling them in and fighting. It's
Right,
just
right, right, right.
it's like you're using it as part of your combo chain. So
Mm-hmm.
they added that mechanic, which I always feel like, Mortal Kombat always does something every iteration to kind of like reinvent itself a little bit. And I feel like that's a really good way to call back to those old characters that are now technically like killed off or gone in the timeline that Liu Kang has started. Because like I said, this is like a complete new reboot. Liu Kang is basically like starting an entirely new universe, like anew. So Raiden is young now. He's like a young Thunder guy. Sub-Zero and Scorpion are brothers instead of rivals in this. Yeah,
Okay.
and on the side of good. So like and I think Melina, like her getting the teeth is actually a disease in this. It's not like her
Okay.
being Baraka's sister or whatever. They're
Mm-hmm.
showing, so they're toying with the like they're like kind of leading back the same place, but also because I could totally see Scorpion and Sub-Zero, even though they're brothers, end up fighting at some point because
Yeah.
brothers fight. I could totally see that happening. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, so that was, and of course the fatalities looked ridiculous. They showed a bunch of fatalities.
Oh.
Ed Boon
Oh.
also top choice and always picking your music for your he always picks like the perfect hip hop songs for his trailer reveals. And
Mm-hmm.
n- same thing. Um, let's see what else do we have on here. We're gonna save the big one at the very bottom of this list. We're gonna save that. Um, but the bottom of for this one. Let's see what else we got. Street Fighter Exo Primal. That looks funny. You're gonna be able to play as like Ryu and Ken in that Exo Primal game. Do you remember Exo Primal? What it is?
Mm-mm.
It's that game that was shown off where it's all like a bunch of dinosaurs get dropped out of a spaceship, and you're just trying to shoot and kill them like on Earth. It's
Oh,
super
okay.
wild. Like it's made by at first when Capcom showed it off, I seriously thought I was like, are we getting a new Dino Crisis? Like that's seriously what I thought. You remember Dino Crisis?
Oh man, yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought, but it's like hordes. Like we're talking like how Left 4 Dead was like good at doing zombies. Imagine that, but with velociraptors.
Mm.
And some of them are like cyber velociraptors. So but they're doing a crossover with that. Nicolas Cage was actually at Summer Games Fest. He came out to talk about his character in Dead by Daylight. And
Nice.
actually seemed I think Keeley kind of pissed him off because he like cut him off. But he actually seemed like he was genuinely enthusiastic about doing it because he was like, they were like, how much of your voice is in here? And he was like, no, everything. He's like, I made sure that I was every grunt, every like even the grunts, every little exasperated breath. That's me. He's like, when I throw myself into something, I'm gonna throw myself all the way. So I gotta respect that if that's true,
Yeah.
that he's like, because a lot of celebrities, it's like they'll do the voicing and then they'll just get somebody else to do the uh uh
Mm-hmm.
like to do that because anybody can kind of do that. He's like, nope, I'm doing all of that. I'm literally gonna because I think it's his son is a huge fan of Dead by Daylight, isn't it?
Okay.
So I want to
That
say it's
would
a
make
family.
sense then, yeah.
So he said that he said that he has someone very close to him who cares a lot about this game, and so and he said there's gonna be quips too, like if somebody is playing as Nicolas Cage or he's on your team, he's gonna be saying like little quips like to the rest of your teammates, like that little Nick Cage, and he said he's playing a heightened version of himself. So he's like so like all the cheesy like Nick Cage delivery that you'd expect, he's like on that turned to 11. Like he actually made the joke that
full
he's
Nick
like
Cage experience.
Nicolas Cage is playing a heightened version known as Nick Cage. He like just said that like that's
Hilarious.
so like, but he really like he genuinely seems excited. So I found that was kind of cool to see that, like, Keeley always gets some sort of celebrity like person. Last year it was The Rock calling in, and this year, yeah, enjoy your gaming. The Rock saying that was a funny moment. You could tell he did not want to be there. And then now like and it wasn't like telephoned in. It was like literally he came out on stage, like was actually there. So that was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that he wants to do more games possibly. Like he was totally like open to that idea. Annapurna is getting a showcase. I forgot that's in the Summer Game Fest. That got announced for the 29th of June, so I will be covering that because Annapurna is one of my favorite indie publishers. They publish Outer Wilds. They got a ton of other things that they publish. So I'm pretty excited for that. What else on this list? Alan Wake 2 looks really, 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 really good. Really good. It's definitely a survival horror game this time. They're going full blown survival horror in this.
Nice.
So that looks killer. John Carpenter's Toxic Commando looks hilarious. John Carpenter's actually going to be assisting in a video game, so that's really cool. There's not much more I can say about that, but that looks cool. Let's see. Under the Waves looked pretty cool. Wayfinder looked pretty cool. Path of Exile 2 got announced. Sonic Superstars got announced and looks fucking awful. My friends in the Discord server will appreciate this, but Honkai Star Rail for PS5 got announced.
I know Twitter's been going crazy about the Like a Dragon.
Oh, the new version of Like a Dragon, Gaiden, the man who erased his name. There was another one that was announced at the Xbox one that we'll talk about too. And then Star Trek Infinite was announced. That actually looked okay.
Okay.
And we're going to get to the big one here in a second. They showed off more of Spider-Man 2. Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis, the phone game, got shown. And then since we're getting to it, the big one of this fest,
baby.
Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, early 2024. And oh my God, that trailer. Like, I love that they are basically saying, fuck the original story. We are playing with the timeline completely now. Like,
dude, let me just say, I was talking to my girlfriend about this, and I says, look, all that I had to see from the trailer was just the clip where they're in the Mako reactor in the flashback, and he slices up Tifa, and that would have been enough for me. Like, I was hyped on that.
Well, and the fact that he said something along the lines is like,
I already killed you, so who are you?
So who is she? And it's like,
yeah.
What? Like, on the timeline shenanigans? Like, I'm like,
yes, mind explode. Like, yes.
This is the whole, I love this kind of shit. Like, I love, like, they could have, I'm so happy they're doing it this way. Like, they could have just done an exact faithful 1-to-1 remake of Final Fantasy VII, and that would have been fine. But this has me so much more hyped for these games because I don't know what's going to happen. Like,
yeah, they're playing time shenanigans, dude.
Yeah, like I love it. That has me so excited. Like,
they showed the clip of, clearly it's Cloud walking with the robot doing the whole like Genova thing.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, what is going on? What is going on?
And then there was that one trailer that they showed like a few months ago that had like that short-haired version of Seth Ross that they showed, or what it looked like. And it's like I'm seizuring like this. Like, I don't know what, and I'm so excited. Like, we're going to be eating so good this year between the Pixel remasters just coming out not long ago. I'm picking those up. 16's right around the corner. And then they said this is early 2024, like the winter of 2024, which I'm cool with. If they got to push it back, because originally they said holiday, But if they got to push it back so it's good, go for it. Like I'm
Yeah,
fine.
I'm fine with that. You know
Oh
what else
man.
I appreciated from it? They didn't just show nice like CGI videos. I mean, that was a good portion of it, but I like that they showed them just like casually walking around the world and stuff like that,
A
just
little
seeing
bit of
how
gameplay.
gorgeous everything looked. And they showed some like actual combat and stuff, so I appreciated that too.
Yeah. Oh, that was the big show ender was
Oh,
showing that off, and man was I fucking excited. Holy shit. Uh
I died laughing too because I was watching a video clip on YouTube of Maximilian dude. Shout out to Max. He's one of my favorites. Uh he was streaming it and they were watching it and he's like, chat, chill out. It's not gonna be that. I'm telling you, it's not gonna be that. And then it came on and bro, how big his eyes got, like his facial expression, he was just generally like looked like a 4-year-old kid on Christmas, bro. And I'm just like, yes, I know that exact feeling because that is exactly how I feel right now.
Yeah, and
Oh,
it was funny too because I had a news story originally for this week that was literally Square Enix trying to nail down a release date for Final Fantasy VII, and I think that's why they only said early 2024 because they're still trying to nail it down. But at least we got something. But oh my
come
god,
on, February, so I can get it for my birthday.
yeah, right, yeah, definitely. Oh, I forgot to mention this. Another thing on here that I wanted to mention. They showed the first trailer for the Twisted Metal movie.
Oh
Um,
yeah, and how and
I mean, it looks
not good. That's a not good. I can read your face.
it's too early to okay, so the weird thing is okay, so
Looking rough.
they showed Samoa Joe playing Sweet Tooth, but he's being voiced by Will Arnett. So and it breaks my brain because I know what Samoa Joe looks like being a wrestling fan. So it's like I know that's not what
Right.
Samoa Joe looks like, and I know that's Samoa Joe's body. I see that dude without a shirt off every day of the week. So seeing him with his shirt off with a clown mask on, I know who that dude is. Like, and so
Yeah.
Will Arnett's voice. I mean, it's too early to tell. It looks kind of rough. I'll have to go back and look. It looks cheesy, but I mean, we would have to see. It opened up with no car combat. Like the whole
Really?
scene was him and who's the guy who plays the Falcon in the Avengers movies, the new Captain America too. That guy, you know who I'm talking
Oh,
about?
yeah. I can't
I
think of
can't
his
remember
name
his
though.
name right now. He's in it. And it's him and Sweet Tooth like fighting in like what looks like a casino or an arcade, but they're not like in their cars. They're like fist fighting, and like they're having an argument, and
Oh
like
God. Ugh.
but Sweet Tooth is trying to like get him to. He's like, because I think Sweet Tooth like does something. He's like, all right, are you done? So I feel like they're like having some sort of argument or something, but like so maybe Sweet Tooth is gonna be like a good guy in this show or in this movie for a bit. I don't know. I wanted to say that before we talked about Final Fantasy, but I forgot about that. And then right after that, there was Day of the Devs, which is a little indie event. Um, that looked real all across the board. Everything looked pretty good. Viewfinder looked freaking awesome. If you check that out, that's like a puzzle game to where like how it works is like so let's say you have to get across a skyscraper, like or get across like two rooftops. You're sitting atop a skyscraper. Sitting over here is like a catwalk. To your left is a catwalk. You could take a picture of that catwalk, and then you place the picture in front of you, and now sets that catwalk in front of you, and you can walk across. That's like the
Interesting.
concept of it. That's like the puzzle mechanic of the game to like get from one to kind of traverse these environments. You're basically trying to get from one place to the other in each level. And you have to do that
Okay.
by using a camera to take pictures to kind of move your way around. And that looked really cool.
Mm,
Haunty looked really cool. Hellskate looked cool. It was basically a Tony Hawk game, but you're also killing demons. So you're
interesting.
skating around, but you also have like weapons, and yeah, so that looked cool. Cocoon looked really cool because it's a game that you're like warping in and out of worlds. So you'd pick up this gem. You're like this little flying fairy character, and you pick up this gem that's like the as big as like two of your hands. You can warp inside of that gem, and inside that gem is a whole nother world.
Interesting.
And then you can like find a different spot in that world, and you warp out and you're in somewhere that corresponds to that, like that they kind of like you're in somewhere that corresponds to that world, and then you can leap, and it's just like I saw a person, they leaped into a world, then leaped out of another world, then leaped into another, like they leaped out of an orange gem, then out of a purple gem, then into a green gem, then they pulled out their orange gem and leaped back into that. And it was just this really cool, like interesting, you know how indie games are. They just always play with these really interesting concepts.
Yeah.
And that looked really cool. They showed Eternights again, which I originally thought looked really cool. And I found out that it's also a dating sim. So it's a super awesome anime fighter, but also a dating sim, or anime like
Nice.
ass game, but also a dating sim. So I don't know. That looks cool. Oh my God. Henry Halfhead. This game was cool, but weird. Um, it's this game where you're playing as this guy that's literally a half a head. When I say half a head, like if you were to take my face and cut the bottom of it off to where I was just a nose and eyeballs at the top of my skull. Okay. And it's another type of puzzle game, but whatever Henry touches, he can turn into that. So it starts the morning with
Interesting.
Henry waking up. So Henry wakes up and he has to go shut his alarm off. So you have to go hop to the alarm clock, turn yourself into the alarm clock, shut it off. Go over to your bed, turn yourself into the sheet to make your bed, and turn yourself into the. So you're doing daily tasks throughout your day. Like, oh, now Henry needs breakfast. So you have to like turn into the milk to pour yourself milk. And you're like doing all these different random daily tasks. Like it kind of reminds me of Super Mario Odyssey, where you could like throw the hat and turn into a
Yep.
bunch of things,
With Cappy.
but
Yep.
you're using that to like solve little like daily tasks and puzzles. So that was really cool. Um, and other than that, I mean, a lot of it's sequels. Definitely check out. I would recommend though every year. Run out people if you've never heard of Day of the Devs. It's a smaller indie event. Highly recommend it. Checking out. It's super short too. It's only like I want to say like 50 minutes to an hour versus a lot of these other ones that are like super long. And you can just bang through them really quick. Especially if you see a game that you're not really interested in. You just kind of just skip forward a few minutes and then you're on to the
Mm-hmm.
next one. Um, and then the last one that we're gonna get into is the Xbox showcase. Now going into this, I was kind of thinking about when we talked about a couple weeks ago about the PlayStation showcase and
Mm-hmm.
how that was kind of, aside from Spider-Man, honestly just kind of okay. Remember we were kind of just like it was an all right
Right.
showcase, but it was
Yeah.
kind of like it was because a lot of the live service games, which they said they were going to have, which me and you are not a huge fan of live service games. So we were just kind of like, okay, these are cool. We're not probably going to play a lot of these. But it got me thinking that Microsoft has a chance here because a lot of people reacted to that PlayStation event because it was like that, reacted pretty negatively. They thought it was kind of meh.
Yeah.
And PlayStation usually always goes on last. And I found out that that was, remember when we were speculating maybe PlayStation will have another showcase? They're not.
Mm-hmm.
That was their showcase.
Oh.
So this for me, like, really puts the ball in Microsoft's court to be like, if they can just show games, which spoiler alert, they fucking did.
Yes, they did.
If they can show games, even if it's just trailers, they have a chance to like kind of start swinging the momentum back in their favor because they really, Sony, and compared to this press conference, kind of dropped the ball. They opened right up with a trailer for Fable.
Yeah, and I did watch that, and
Giants. All I will say is
yes.
giants. Did you see that? Like giants.
Oh yeah. Oh
Like,
yeah.
and now I'm wondering, it's like, are you gonna be able to play as a giant? Like, what if you could play it twice, once as like a human and once as a giant? Like, what if you could play both stories?
It gave me a very like kind of Jack and the Beanstalk kind of feel to it. You know what I
And it's
mean?
still got like that, like the tone definitely still matches that Fable tone of like that
Mm-hmm.
funny, kind of British slapstick humor. They're definitely kind of leaning back into that. But yeah, the trailer opens up with like a guy speaking from his perspective, and he's talking about heroes, about how annoying they
Yeah.
are, and then
Yep.
the hero that they keep showing in the trailer shows up in his room, and she's tiny, and that's when it reveals
Yeah.
like, oh, the guy that's been narrating to you the whole time is a giant. So that was
Yep.
like the whole thing that we got was like, and then it shows her at the end like what, eating a cheeseburger on a giant pair of glasses, like something like
Mm-hmm.
that. Like, that got me excited. Um, I did it get you excited? I remember you said you watched it,
Oh,
but
dude. Yeah, I got super excited. I mean, I've always been a big Fable fan, anyways. I mean, we've discussed a couple of them were kind of, you know what I
That
mean?
first one was still
But
probably my
yeah,
favorite.
it got me hyped. I definitely like that they went a little bit more realistic. It looks like more realism on the graphics wise this time around versus being more, like you said. I don't like to use the term cartoony, so the term I would use is more like animated versus realistic. So they went kind of more realistic this time around, which I can appreciate. So yeah, I'm hyped. I mean, I don't have an Xbox anymore. It's kind of a bummer, but yeah, it looks cool. So
Yeah.
friggin' Xbox people are probably gonna be eating good.
Yeah, for sure. And then they showed off Star Wars Outlaws, which is the first like big open world Star Wars game that we're getting, and it's like I think it's like a bounty hunter type game because it's the way that it sounds like is like you're running a ship and you're like doing it looks that was kind of a surprise. That looks really rad. Um Payday 3 got formally announced. That was kind of a surprise. I didn't kind of see that coming. Um I don't, was that announced before? I can't remember if that was
I
announced
don't think so. I
previously.
don't think so.
Uh,
No, well, did those people have that one game that looked like it was a Payday ripoff? Weren't you just saying
that
like
was
a
at
while
Sony's
back?
event. That was actually at Sony's
Yeah,
event.
yeah,
That's
yeah.
and that's so
And
funny.
now Payday 3. Yeah.
Yeah. They showed off Avowed that looked okay. They showed off an expansion for Sea of Thieves, The Legend of Monkey Island. That's coming out
S-
in July.
Surprisingly, you'll probably this might surprise you. I have not played Sea of Thieves, but I've watched a lot of Sea of Thieves, and it actually looks like a super fun game.
Yeah, it looks real fun. Um, let's see. I'm trying to do these in a specific order here. We're gonna shout this out to a friend of the show. We're gonna just say Darius's fiance, Dustin's fiance, friend of the show. She will be excited for this. I am not. We have fought about this before. I still love you. Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty. That's the DLC for Cyberpunk. That's coming out on September 26th. She's
And I was reading it's supposed to be kind of like a murder mystery or something like that. DLC,
apparently,
something like
yeah,
that.
something like that. Keanu Reeves was there to kind of talk about it. He and Idris Elba's gonna be in it.
Interesting.
He's
Okay.
coming into play. They showed DLC for Fallout 76. It was Atlantic City DLC.
I
Um,
watched it.
Showed Elder Scrolls Online DLC, Elder Scrolls Online Necrom Shadow over Morrowind. That's coming out June 20th. A lot of
Oh
stuff that's
yeah,
coming out real soon.
take us back to Morrowind, baby.
And I will say, almost every game said play day one Game Pass. What did we say? If they could say play on
Yep.
game one Game Pass,
Yeah.
like nail in the freaking coffin.
Done.
Like
Game in the
so
bag.
literally just about everything that I'm saying here, if you have Game Pass, you are going to be able to play these games pretty much day one. They showed City Skylines 2. The big ones that I'm going to talk about here though, I'm going to say graphically here, they showed off the reboot of Forza Motorsport, which the racing games always look really good on the new hardware, and it's the first big racing game we're kind of seeing. So that's really big. That's going to be coming out. It looks like it's literally called Forza Motorsport 2024, I think. Yeah.
Hmm.
And then Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 is going to be coming, and that is they're adding a bunch of stuff to it, like search and rescue. I don't know if you ever played Microsoft Flight Sim, but if you can get it running,
Mm-mm.
super nice. That is super detailed, like photorealistic.
Hell
Like
yeah.
set your PC on fire type stuff. But apparently it's coming to the Xbox, so they showed that off and it looks amazing. And they are doing a cross DLC with Dune, so you're gonna be able to
Okay.
fly the stuff in Dune. But that just looked really good. Big one for me, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. I don't know if you played Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice, but that game was fucking phenomenal. And they showed off a little bit of early gameplay for the second one, so that looked really good. Big one here for me, probably the biggest one for me on this list, aside from the last one that we're going to talk about. Persona 3 Reloaded, baby. Oh my God. We are getting a remake of Persona 3. Now, I will say this. I was late to the Persona franchise. I got in on Persona 5 and absolutely fell in fucking love. And everyone always tells me that 3 and 4 were like the sweet spot. 5 is awesome, but like I hear everybody talk about Persona 3, and Persona 4 Golden. If you don't know what Persona 4 Golden is, Brandon, you know how they did Persona 5 and they did Persona 5 Royale?
Yep.
Where they had it. So they did Persona 4 and they did Persona 4 Golden. And that was that version. That was like their version, their Royale version. I don't know if they did one for 3, but they're doing a remake of like from the ground up, like in the style of Persona 5. They're doing Persona 3 Reloaded, and it's coming out early 2024. And I hope the fucking God it's not exclusive to Xbox, because I think it is still coming to PlayStation, but I think it's just Sega has that deal. Sega owns Atlas, and Xbox has that deal with Sega. So everything that is kind of shown there first. But
Probably be
I am
a
so
timed release for PlayStation, maybe.
yeah. Either way, I am so excited for that. Mega pumped, mega pumped. I remember you watched me play a little bit of Persona. You
piqued my interest. I thought it looked interesting.
You need to check it out. Like Persona, you would love Persona. Persona's right up your alley. Last 3 things we're going to talk about here. They showed off this game called Clockwork Revolution. I'm not going to say too much about it. Just go check it out. We'll say 4 things, because I also want you guys to check out Metaphor Ray Fantasio, I think is how you pronounce it. Check that out. That's another one to check out. But check out Clockwork Revolution. These last 2, though, I felt like were kind of the 1-2 punch at Sony. They announced, we saw a couple months ago that they kind of pulled the Xbox Series S off shelves, and we were like, well, what's going on with that? Like, they're not really that kind of all digital version. They announced a 1 terabyte Xbox Series S in black. So it's 1 terabyte, so it's bigger hard drive than the original S, at $350. That is $50 cheaper than the all digital edition of the PlayStation 5. Which, I mean, a lot of people can say what you want, but it's only $50, but it's still $50.
It's $50 less. Yeah, exactly.
And that's just another thing that we kind of talk about, where if somebody came to you and said, Brandon, I have not been a gamer for a long time, and I don't want to spend a whole lot of money, what should I get?
I tell them to get that because it's $50 cheaper, dude.
And it's got a
week.
terabyte now in it, so that's got a decent amount of storage. And if you have get that and get Game Pass, you're set. You're set. Like, that is the one thing. Like, we've talked about it so much on this podcast, even though that, like, we tend to be more Sony guys because, and we try not to be biased. Really, we really try not to be. We just tend to like a lot of the first party stuff that Sony puts out. So we tend to be those guys, but we've said it so many times on this podcast where it's like, dude, if Xbox could just ramp up the first party production, they could put Sony out of business easily.
Oh yeah.
If Microsoft bought Square Enix tomorrow, that's it for me, dude. I'd be like,
fucking game over.
Game over, nail in the coffin. I'm turning my back. Sorry, my brother-in-law Steve, who'd be like turncoat, but that's all it would take for me. But that is $350. That is such a good deal.
That is a slap in Sony's face. Hardcore.
Like, and now it's like that leaves Sony having to respond. That's why I said when we were talking earlier in the podcast, I was like, I feel the tide once again starting to kind of just, it's not swinging as hard as it did like with the Xbox One press conference or with the PlayStation 3 being $600. It's not swinging, but it's starting to teeter in that direction where it's like,
that's definitely your move, Sony.
Yeah, like
sure.
Like literally, the only thing you could say now is Sony has the first party stuff and Microsoft doesn't. That is literally it. That is literally it. Sony is there for first party, Microsoft just doesn't have it. If both sides could either match, that they're gonna clean house. That's what it's gonna come down to. And then the last one, and they spent a whole hour on this game, and I normally don't watch these whole 1 hour deep dives on just a singular game, but this is the first time that Bethesda has done anything new in 25 years since Fallout and Elder Scrolls. I watched the whole showcase, whatever you want to call it, on Starfield. Holy fuck.
Yeah, pretty good, huh?
It's I have two thoughts. Holy shit, I am mad that this is not coming to PlayStation. um okay, three thoughts. Holy shit, this looks good. Holy shit, I'm mad this is not coming to PlayStation. Four thoughts. Holy shit, this is ambitious as hell. And holy shit, how is this going to run on a console? Because we know Bethesda is notorious for shipping with that Bethesda jank. And they iron it
Yes.
out.
Yes.
But what are the highlights? There are going to be thousands of planets in this, over 1,000 different planets you can go to in this. You can build your own ship. You can build your own outposts. You like what else do you want me to tell you? You can customize like the guns in it are ridiculous. Like it's every like Star Wars space kids like wet dream. Like the ships look cool. Like it's got that retro, like they almost look kind of like beat up and retro-y, kind of like that old Star Wars design look. Like you can hire a crew. Like you can do so much. There's so much shit you can do in this game. You can do the stuff like in No Man's Sky where you're going to planets and just like discovering the different flora and fauna, and you get rewarded for like completely discovering a planet or a solar system. You can upgrade your ship to get different warp drives to jump to farther solar systems. Our solar systems in it, so you can go to Earth and Mars and everything like that. There are some planets that are fully inhabited with people and have been colonized already. There are some planets that are remote. There are some planets that are like, they even have two factions already where they have like the United Colonies and I think what they call like free space. Free space literally feels like the fucking Outer Rim from Star Wars. Like that's what it feels like.
Hell yeah.
Like they literally, it's like I was totally sold on it. From like I was so skeptical. I'm still really skeptical because if this thing could run like total dog shit when it comes out. But the planets, I guess, are procedurally generated too. So me and you could be playing it and we won't see the same stuff because everything's being procedurally generated. But the story beats are still going to be the same. So it's kind of a cross between parts of it are going to be procedurally generated and parts of it are going to be story crafted, so they still have that story. But
Okay.
man, like I highly recommend, man, going back and checking. It's a long showcase, but I know, like I said, normally I don't watch a showcase on a game like that in depth. But man, it was, if it could work, man, that game is gonna be insane, absolutely insane. Um, yeah, I don't know. Do you have any questions about it? Because that's kind of like the big one.
No, I mean that sounds cool. It sounds ambitious. Hopefully, it's not going to be it like the ambition we got with No Man's Sky originally. Remember where they were like, "We promise all this stuff," and then, you know what I mean? I really hope some shit like that doesn't happen. But it fucking dude, that sounds awesome. Like you said, that's every fucking sci-fi space nerd's wet dream. Is what it sounds
Dude,
like.
yeah, and like I said, like you can, I know I'm repeating myself, but like you can build your own spaceship. Check. When
You
you
can
land on
literally
a
do
planet,
anything.
you can build an outpost. And they said this outpost can be as much as like it can mine resources for you while you're gone because you're mining resources in this game too. You literally are doing anything. You can bounty hunt. You can pirate other people's ships. That was the cool thing it was showing too, is you can like dogfight with these ships and you can destroy them and loot them right there. Like your ship just automatically loots it, or you could get their health low enough that you could board the ship, and then if you kill
I'd be
everybody,
doing that all day.
if you can kill everybody on the ship, that ship becomes yours and becomes part of your fleet. You can have a fucking fleet of ships, like and like the
I'd be a space pirate all day.
like you could eventually hire enough crew to where like they're running a ship and you're running a ship. You can eventually have a cargo ship, and because you stole somebody else's ship, you now have a speeder ship or like a smuggler ship. Like
Heck yeah.
like it was, you need to go back and watch it. Everybody needs to go back and watch it because
Sounds like you need a towel, bro.
it blew me away, dude. I was not expecting it to. I really wasn't. But like the more and more they went on about it, I was just like, if this can work, holy, and okay, this could be just the trailer magic, but the one thing I always say about Bethesda games, like the Fallout games, they always the shooting was always shit. That's why you had VATS to do the freezing and stuff or the melee stuff. The shooting always sucked in those games. The shooting looked good in this. It looked like it looked real good. They showed off the different abilities. Like you can like there's like you can get a jetpack for your guy, of course. The weapons of it look ridiculous. Oh, what more can I say about it? Except you gotta go check it out. Everybody, not just Brandon, but yeah. After we get off this, Brandon, if you're just laying in bed or chilling, you need to just pull it up on your phone and just check out the whole Starfield one. Because man, I might have to like see if I can run that on this laptop on low settings. Because I even on low settings, I might just have to check this game out because if they can pull it off, I wish it was coming to PlayStation after seeing it. Maybe I need to get that. Maybe I need to spend $350 on that Xbox. Is what it's saying.
Yeah, so it sounded like.
That's what it sounded like.
Shauna, Christmas gift. Wink,
wink,
wink.
Yeah, right. But yeah, that was the podcast. That was, dude. We normally sometimes we struggle to hit an hour on this podcast. We did an hour and 21 minutes of nothing but news this week.
It was a juicy news week.
It was a banger. So next week, do you have any plans as far as streams or anything?
Probably not. I have the kids this week, so I am probably not going to. I did get a text while we were recording that it is confirmed apparently Tuesday we'll have D4.
Okay.
Yeah, D4. So I will definitely be checking that out. Possibly, maybe over the weekend, I might stream a little bit of it. Okay. Just so people can see it. That'd be cool.
Okay. So I think this week we're going to have a little bit of a programming change. I think this week we were probably going to do this coming week because it's Father's Day. We will probably try to, if it's cool with you, I think we're going to try to do the podcast Saturday night instead.
Okay.
Just to kind of, and it's my birthday on Father's Day. That's right. So I'm going to do that.
Happy birthday.
And then I'm hoping I'm hoping that I'm going to get back to season, and then I will have the Final Fantasy Pixel Remastered because I'm getting that for my birthday. And then a few days after that, you know what comes out. It's coming to be Final Fantasy 16 time. So
I thought it was going to be Strangers in Paradise time.
That game is what I like to call trade-in fodder. It's officially hit the trade-in list, where I'm not going to finish it. I am going to trade that in and probably put it towards some of the other games that are announced this year. But yeah, man, that's my plan. Where could people find you now that we that was a podcast? That was a podcast. Was that a podcast? That was a podcast.
Yeah, that was a podcast. I think it was at least.
Yeah.
You can find me on Twitter, at EnrageMe with an H at the end. Or you can find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/EnrageMe, also with an H at the end.
You can find me at chasing_chase on Twitter and twitch.tv/chasingchasetv. You can follow us on Twitter and YouTube at _BlackBoxSignal. Follow us at Twitch at twitch.tv/BlackBoxSignal. We are now everywhere, if you don't notice. Oh, also, we do have an email before we get to that. It is blackboxsignalpodcast@gmail.com. Write us an email about whatever, food, anything. Tell us we suck. Argue with us. Well, anything, really. It doesn't even have to be video game related. We want to make the email segment silly and fun.
Send us some cool like video game inspired tattoos if you have them. I'd love to see that.
Get us to argue too. Send in like your video game hot takes and see if it gets us to argue, because that's always the best. Because all his takes are wrong.
Yeah, okay.
And then we're everywhere now. Like
Vanilla
I said,
Destiny is the best Destiny.
Oh god damn it. As I said, we are everywhere now. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, what else? Google Podcasts. We're on YouTube. We're on Twitter. We're everywhere. We're everywhere. I don't know. We might get on Overcast. I'm looking into it. It seems kind of weird. It doesn't seem like anybody uses it, but maybe we'll end up on there. Maybe Stitcher. Does anybody use Stitcher? I don't know. But that's a podcast. Hopefully, y'all have a great night. Until then, stay safe, comrades. Bye.